Nick Solo was born in Russia, lived most of his life in Holland, and he's doing the interview with us today from Belgium. Nick has a great purpose statement. He says, I help people reach their full potential and create a future they love. He's the creator of Brainiosity.com. Brainiosity is a community for self-educators who use their knowledge to help others in their learning journey. Let's get started. Morning, Nick. I'm so glad to have you on the show. I've got a few great questions for you here, and I'm excited to share your insight with our audience.
Awesome, man. I'm happy to be here.
What is your personal definition of success?
My definition of success is like doing something you actually love every day and really doing it on a daily basis and not working on a job or something you really don't enjoy doing. And because I see a lot of people just working on a 9 to 5 or whatever because their mom set out to, or they just do whatever they had to do, and they're not enjoying their life and they want to do something else but they don't do it. And I think, like I will say, for me, success is really doing something you enjoy, and that's what I always try to do, and that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm trying to help other people do the same.
That's awesome. Now you run multiple different groups online, social media with Facebook and Instagram and basically all the different social networks. And can you tell me a little bit about how you got into you're doing life coaching, and you're an author as well, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm just trying to, I don't know, I started it, I think, really officially like in June or May this year, 2019. And I don't know, I always was somewhere into self-development, and I always was consuming all the content, like there's so much online, and I was just consuming it every day. And I was just thinking, instead of consuming it, I want to like make it and help people with. So trying to be everywhere, trying to help everyone I can. And that's why I just started with Instagram, and eventually it followed up, and I'm trying to help people on all kinds of platforms right now.
That's awesome. Your Facebook group is exploding already for just launching it recently here. You've done a good job in the marketing.
Thanks, man.
Question I've got for you. You're big on productivity and teaching people not to slack off, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How did you get into that, into the productivity coaching?
So it's like started a couple of years ago when I was first someone who was like really lazy and really did nothing with his life, and I didn't even know what self-development was. So I woke up every day at 1 p.m. just watching Netflix all day, or gaming, whatever, or even like smoking, like just doing nothing. And eventually I learned about self-development, and I really got like super in depth into it, and I transformed myself from someone who's super lazy, someone who does nothing with his life, to someone who's super productive and builds self-discipline. And I've tried a lot of things to build it, and now I feel like my work ethic is really good and my self-discipline is really good, but I see that a lot of people are struggling with it. And I was like, how could I change like that, from someone who was super lazy, someone who did nothing, like you couldn't even imagine, and to something like into the person I'm right now. And that's why I became fascinated more of productivity and self-discipline, how to do it better, how to do it more, like how can some people become more productive and how can some people do nothing, and try to find the best ways.
That's awesome. I love that you're teaching other people to be more productive and stop wasting their life. It's great that you not only figured out how to do it yourself, but you're helping now thousands of followers all over the world to improve their lives as well. That's great.
Yeah.
Can you share what steps you take daily to improve?
I think what my biggest steps to improve is I make sure that my mornings are like crystal clear, and I do the most important things first in the morning. Like my mornings are sacred. I don't plan any calls or any meetings or whatever in the morning. I make sure that I wake up at 5:30, and after my short morning routine, make sure like I do the most important things was for my business and for my personal life. So that's what I always recommend other people to do is don't think about all the to-dos you have to do, all the make it complete to-do list. Think of like 2-3 things that will definitely move you forward to your goals, and make sure you do them every single day. And every single day in the morning, just these couple of things, because if you do them, eventually it's like inevitable that you will achieve your goals. And that's what I'm trying to do. So I will know, doesn't matter how bad the day will go, I will always know I did it in the morning. My day was successful.
That's great. Okay. What advice would you give to someone making an important decision?
I think, to go what you feel right, what's right in the what will be good in the future. So I see a lot of people make choices that give them short-term happiness, something that is like, for example, watching Netflix or something. I don't know. It's a short-term happiness, short-term dopamine kick. It's enjoyable, but it doesn't like give you something amazing in the future. So if you have to make an important decision or whatever, think about how it will benefit you in the future, and if it will, and if it really is right, and your gut says it feels right, you should go. And yeah, that's maybe my second thing, is to go with your gut. Sometimes logic over conquers everything, but the moments I made big decisions like with my gut, I moved countries 3 times and all with my gut. Like I moved to Moscow and then to Belgium, and I'll probably go to Portugal just because of gut feeling. I don't know what's out there, but it was always the right decision. So your gut is mostly right.
That's awesome. I'm one that does not follow my gut much. Everything is ridiculously calculated. I've got
Cool.
spreadsheets and formulas, and every decision I make is calculated. But I need to start doing more of that. Just follow your heart. That's great advice that I'll use myself.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Can you tell me about a specific moment that set you on the path you're on now?
And the moment that I really came into self-development, and that was when I was in Moscow for a gap year. Like I was studying there for like special study. And I found someone who was into self-development, and he told me that he wakes up every morning at 5 a.m. to grind. And I didn't understand it. I woke up at 1 p.m. every day, and I was like, who wakes up at 5 p.m.? Like, are you nuts or something? And he just explained to me, like, imagine I wake up at 5 and you wake up at 12, let's say. I have 7 more hours during the day. Like, how much farther will I be in 10 years if I have 7 more hours? And I was like, oh, yeah. And now I even try to say people, like, even wake up 1 or 2 hours earlier. You will have more time. And the next day, I woke up at 9 and I had 4 more hours and I didn't even know what to do with it. I was like amazed. Like I can create more time. Okay, I didn't know that. And from that moment, I think the week after it, I started waking up at 5 a.m. and probably never stopped.
Wow, that's awesome. That's cool to make a decision like that too, and that you made that decision and stuck to it instead of, a lot of people will read a book that tells them to get up early and they wake up early for 3 or 4 days and realize they're tired and, well, I'm going to go back to sleeping at, waking up at noon.
So. Relapse after, like in a while, sometimes you sleep in, like it's okay. But you just have to remind yourself to, okay, if I woke up today at 7, try to get tomorrow again at 5, we're still humans. We will fail. Like even the biggest, I think Tony Robbins also doesn't have always the perfect day, we need to accept that, but we need to consistently try to get forward.
Now that you speak a lot about self-discipline, how do you, it's easy to make a decision, but how do you force yourself to stick with that decision? Is there a mindset or a tool you use for that, or?
I think there are a lot of things you can use for that, but it always starts with self-discipline. What I always believe, you have to believe you are a self-disciplined person. That's where it first starts, because a lot of people are lazy and they're trying to do something. They're trying to become more productive, to do more tasks. But they still believe in their heads they are a lazy person. They are somebody who is lazy but tries to build a side hustle. I don't know. But instead of that, they have to try to think of, I'm not a lazy person. I am a self-disciplined person. I am a productive person. Even before they are like that, they just have to believe themselves. And then whenever they have to make a decision to make, say, for example, work on a blog post because they want to create like the biggest blog in the world or whatever, then they ask themselves, does a productive person do that? And if it says, and the question is yes, like a productive person makes a blog post, so I should make it. And if it's no, then you don't do it, because you don't want to create a dissonance of like who you are and who you want to be, like that self-disciplined person. And you can always ask yourself that question, like, does that person do that? Yes or no? And that's how you make easier decisions.
Okay, I love that. If you could recommend one book for our audience, what would that be?
That would be High Performance Habits from Brendon Burchard, because I always like joke around, it's like my Bible of self-development books. Like I just need that one and I have everything I need. I know how to come to the next level. I read it, I think, at least 2 or 3 times a year, just to remind myself of things and implement whatever it's in it.
Okay, that's great. Well, thanks for that recommendation. We're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors.
Follow M. Curtis McCoy on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, or connect with him on your favorite social media platform to be the first to know about his next book release.
Okay, welcome back. What character traits do you value the most?
If I would think, it will be like action taking, honesty, kindness, realness, and openness. But like I think most of it, I think action taking. I can see a lot of people, even some of my close friends, sometimes we talk a lot. Like, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to achieve big things. And then 1 or 2 weeks later, I'm asking like, hey, how is that? And they're like, yeah, I procrastinated or whatever. And if I see someone who's taking action, he says something to me and the next day he does it, I really appreciate it. And like, I want to spend more time with those people.
Cool. That's a great thing too. Surrounding yourself with people that are taking action and following through on their word and do what they say they'll do. Huh? That's awesome. Yeah. How do you push through tough times?
Reminding myself of why I do things and why I do this and what the things are that I overcame. Because like, I believe that everyone has things they overcame. They had struggles, they had adversities they had to go through. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, or whatever. You always had adversities. You always had like maybe a breakup or whatever. And you overcame them, and you're still here. You're still alive. Probably have a roof over your head. If you're listening to this, you have internet, so everything is okay. And whatever you're going through right now, whatever I go through, I'll be like, I can go through this too. If I could go to that, if I can do that, I can do this, and whatever next adversity will come.
Perfect. This is one of my favorite questions, probably my favorite question to ask successful people. What inspires you?
I think that what inspires me is like the people that have made it from nowhere, with just the belief that they can make it. And you hear those stories like so often, and you hear like they made it from nothing to everything. But it still inspires me because it means if they could make it from literally nothing, like that. The story of Tony Robbins only had like $7 in his pocket or something, and even gave it away. Like, and I just have like a normal income, have a house, like a roof over my head, have food. If I cannot make it even with this, like it's not possible. So because they could make it from there, I can make it from wherever I am, and probably other people can also make it from wherever they are.
Okay, I love asking this question as well. How do you manage and prioritize opportunities?
I think opportunities, I see a lot of opportunities rise in a couple last months because, I've started this coaching business, so a lot of opportunities come, but I make sure like I don't regret it in the future. So I will always see what's closest to my heart and what I find most important. It's a little bit same with the gut feeling, like if I don't feel right about this, and then I won't do it. And if somebody comes with an opportunity, or if I find something in a way and I feel really good about it and it makes me feel amazing, and then I prioritize it, and then I will see it as an important thing. And like for me, it's also, for example, I don't prioritize opportunities that have to do with a lot of money. I cannot even set goals with money. Like if I set a goal of like I want to create 10K, I'll get demotivated. So for me, it's more like I want to impact so many people. That motivates me more, and the money like will follow eventually. So all the opportunities that can help me create more impact. Yeah.
Cool. I love that. That's very wise advice. Now you're a young guy. What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self, or to a younger version of yourself?
Stop wasting your precious time on stupid things and bad people, and spend more time working on yourself and creating a powerful inner circle. Like really start being obsessed about self-development. Like really spend time learning, like every morning 3 hours. I don't know, like go on YouTube, watch these videos, take notes, spend more time on you than you spend time on like other stuff. Like stop consuming bad that will not benefit you in the future. Think of like people. I think a lot of people don't understand the compound effect, that whatever they do now will have a detrimental effect in their future, and they don't even know what they did like 2 years ago, what affects them now. So if you watch a Netflix series, probably it doesn't do anything. But if you watch an e-commerce course, it might change your life and you might make a lot of money, for example. So spend your time on yourself and on your future. Perfect.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for your time. What is the best way for people to get a hold of you? I know there's your main website is brainiosity.com.
Yeah. So I think the best way is go to my Instagram or my Facebook. With my Instagram, I have my most content on, and I speak to people a lot on the DM. It's like Brainiosity, like brain and then curiosity together. So it's like Brainiosity. So probably quite simple.
I like that. I'll put a link to your website. I don't think there's a place to put the social media links in there, but I'll link to your website, and I'm sure you've probably got the links to your social media on that site, right? Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, hey, thanks so much again for your time, and I appreciate our conversation this morning.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the Success, Motivation, and Inspiration podcast, and head over to successmotivationinspiration.com For show notes and more tools to fuel your passion.